Doubts on itself aren't necessarily bad. It's only bad when they become a barrier, when they become something that paralyzes you or blocks you or slows you down in any way. So first question, and this is for all of you, what is some of the things that you've learned when starting up your first business, especially, that you didn't take into account before you started? What's the main takeaway that you've learned?
Yeah, I would say like my first company, I really much focused on the product and I totally forget the money parts. So that was the social network, everything was very hype at that time and MySpace and Bebo were selling for over 500 million. So well, there is money there, I don't know how, but that was a big mistake. So I jumped into this field and there were actually no business in that. I mean, but Facebook today. But so basically I focused on a product rather on focusing on a customer problem, which this maybe was my mistake.
Personally, it is indeed easy to start a company and to actually build it out. Well, easy, as long as you're passionate. But I've also learned, especially my first entrepreneurial adventure, that you need to know your market. Basically, we didn't knew what we were doing. We just did our stuff because we loved doing it. But that got difficult because at the beginning we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into, how big is that market, and sometimes when I listen to other people that go like, oh yeah, you just need to do it and you just need to follow your passion and all, and that's true. I mean, you need to be passionate, but you need to know damn sure what you're doing, what you're getting yourself into in terms of market and who's your client and how to get distribution. So that's something that's my main takeaway from my first adventure.
Right. So it's not much of a secret that, especially if you compare it to the US, in general, people not just in Belgium, but in all of Europe, are not very prone or keen to start their own businesses. It's very, very hard to get people out of the typical mindset of having like a comfortable lifestyle and profession and get them out there and just start their own businesses. Once they do, typically they never stop being an entrepreneur. So it's basically a question of getting them across that first hurdle. If you look because you're all entrepreneurs, but if you look in your friends circle, I'm assuming you all have friends, some of them probably didn't start their own businesses. Have you ever talked to them and asked them, like, why don't you go into your own business? Why stay with this, government or insurance or bank job? Why don't you do your own stuff?
I think one of the main reasons, I call it the golden cage. I mean, a lot of people are in the golden cage, and it's the comfort of the job you have. It's the comfort of having a nice paycheck on your bank account every month. It's the comfort of the company car. It's the comfort of not needing to work in the weekends or not having to worry about building your business. And to get out of that golden cage, especially in a country like Belgium, where there's quite a lot of work and you can get a good job, and it's challenging, but okay. I mean, once you make that step, it gives so much satisfaction. It's such a great thing to build a company with a team together to achieve something with a team together, that I really think it's worth it. But it's quite hard, and I talk a lot with my friends and try to encourage them to take that step. I think what the other said is definitely very valuable. You need to do it it would be one of my main advice as well, to find a really good partner to start a company with. My partner is somewhere here in the room, probably Louis. We've been. It's day and night that we work together, that we challenge each other, that we take it to the next level, and it's a great thing to do. But so many people will say, yeah, but I will wait until my next kid gets born, and yes, and I will wait until 2 more years. I will save a bit more money, and I'm working on an idea, and of course, I mean, sometimes you need to take your time, but sometimes also you just have to force yourself to make that decision, and then it can be really rewarding.
Do you think you're born with it, or can you learn it?
Like for me, I was born with it. Basically, I worked for employers before for 6 years, and I was really unhappy. I was I felt that I could be so much better. I felt like I was bringing a lot of money to my employers and just getting a small paycheck every month. So it was just in my guts, basically. I'm very happy to have made the switch. And I mean, it was not a switch because it was just, I knew I would become at one point an entrepreneur. I was just unhappy. So if you're unhappy at work, maybe you should ask yourself, and maybe you're an entrepreneur, and you should start failing and failing until you succeed. So yeah, it was in my guts, I would say. So I still, yeah.
Yeah, I have a very specific question for you because you, out of the 4 entrepreneurs on stage, you're actually the one who sold his business already, right? Can you walk us through what you've achieved on that level and where you work now?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So the reason why we got sold is, of course, that there was a potential to get sold. The main thing that we wanted to have is to keep control of our firm, even when we were sold. And that was, of course, the most difficult part in the whole negotiation because, of course, they're buying you, they're paying you money. But the question is, if they want to keep us as an entrepreneur, I think, and that's really great of Chris, he made the decision to let us do whatever we think we should do to help his business grow in the digital area. So we negotiated very hard. It took us 1 year and a half. So that's a long period if you know that we exist for 7 years before we were sold. But I'm very glad we did it. It was a very tough period. I lost 6 kilos during that period. So it was a great learning because Chris, the CEO of the group, took over his 21 company and we were number 22. So I had to learn everything. He knew everything. But it was fun. And at this moment, still I'm very happy that I did it because at this moment, that was one of the achievements that we had. It's not about the money, it's about people and having fun in a company. We now have more doors. So they got us into Disney, Hasbro, Warner Bros. Within 5 months. And of course, we had the doubt was, what do we do? Do we go to a financial company to keep our growth steady? Do we go to a VC? It was really easy for us to raise some VC money. But still, with that VC money, you're not in all the other potential customers, or you don't have extra doors. And with them, it was a really good match because they had those doors. We had the potential and the vision for doing that.
Yeah. You brought up the magic word, money, VC money in particular, because I know that a lot of people, when they start, before they start their own business, there's 1,000 reasons not to do it. One of them being, am I going to keep cash flow? Am I going to be able to pay myself? Am I going to be able to provide for my family? And one option is working with investors, especially if you have a fast-growing business that can scale. And Jean, you've actually specifically said, I'm not going to take VC money, I'm going to bootstrap the business. Was that a very conscious decision? And
No.
Are you still happy with the decision?
No, it was not conscious. Actually, I searched for money. No one was believing in me and my partner. So basically, it's the same story here. I have a very good co-founder. We share the same vision. We share the same level of risk, I think. We have similar skills, but that's just to come back to the co-founder thing. But basically, yeah, we're searching for money. No one was basically like believing in this project. So we said, okay, let's start with our own money. It's possible to start with your own money. Definitely, it's slower because money just gives you the access to more human resources, more marketing spendings. So basically, you can grow much faster. On the other hand, like when you have passed the break-even, it's so much more. I mean, I don't know about the others, but it's very comfortable because I have no board, I have no one to report to. We can do whatever we want. And we don't have this feeling of working hard for an investor. Basically, we are growing our own money. So I felt like it's a very good situation as of today. I would not change that. Even if I could have been 10 times bigger, I would have so much more pressure now. And maybe for my personal life, I wouldn't have handled that much. So that's my experience.
Philip, same question. You've also raised a seed round for August. So.
Yeah, so 2 stories basically also in terms of my first company, bootstrapping. I guess it all depends on knowing your product and knowing the market you're going to put your product in and making a very realistic assessment of what are the resources required to build this product and going to that market. And in the initial company, it was a service company, basically. So when you're providing services, you don't have any cost of goods sold. You don't have any upfront investments you need to make. You just need to buy a laptop, get out there, and start, performing your services, which is a different business model, basically. With Argus Labs, it's a bit different because we took on this humongous task of, applying artificial intelligence in products. And this requires a huge amount of resources. And this was one of the reasons, we need to raise money. It's not even a question. It's not even a personal, it's in a very emotionless decision you need to make. And so far, we raised 1.5 million euros in seed. And also, continue to raise money because the market is going quite fast. We need to expand a little. Well, not a little bit much. But yeah, these are the requirements, so we need to apply them.
Understood. So we've talked about doubts and lessons learned and mistakes made in the beginning when you started the business. Growing is also something of a problem because, you get new problems, meaning you need to start hiring, you need to start managing more people, more office spaces, maybe moving to the US in Chopet's case. So these are all things, it's not just starting a business that's hard, it's also growing a business is also hard. So what are some of the mistakes you're currently making rather than the mistakes you made in the beginning?
About the issues now, we struggle with many issues today. So we have just reached these steps of 20 people. And I would say, when you start, you know everyone you first work in a room big as this stage. We're six of us, we knew everyone's job and we knew everything about everything in the company. But 20 people, it's not possible anymore. So I was the CEO. I'm a very bad CEO, so I dropped the job. So basically, I'm an entrepreneur, meaning that I'm very passionate. I want things to move very fast. I'm very messy. I hate processes, and I like organized mess, I would say. But that doesn't work when you're 20 people. 20 people, you need processes, you need job description, you need to set certain types of meetings, weekly meetings, monthly meetings, team meetings, weekly stand-ups, daily blah blah, I hate to set up that. So I would say this is the struggles we are right now. We need to be much more self-disciplined. When you start up, you can do whatever, everything works because it's a small team. But when you grow, you need to have a lot of self-discipline. I would say and then everything related to people management. It's a pain. so I left the job to my co-founder.
So let's move on to some very, very practical advice, especially for the wannabe entrepreneurs in the room. Because something that I often hear when I hear people talking about the doubts that they need to overcome to start their own business is stress. They're afraid of the stress and the responsibility that comes with, especially once you start hiring people, right? Then you have the responsibility to stay in business, to keep providing, to keep their paychecks coming, etc. What are some of the tips and tricks that you can give to people to deal with all this stress and responsibility?
That's a good question because actually the first 3 or 4 years I started with a business, I would say I was very unstressful actually, as strange as it might seem, but I was very focused on building the team, together with Louis, building the product, hiring, and then suddenly you realize that and I started realizing that just before the summer that you're almost employing 100 people, that you're having big customers, you have a company on the other side of the planet as well, and things like that, and you're traveling a lot. And I started to have a lot more stress just because of thinking about that, now I build this and it needs to keep growing, and you want things to go good, still run good. And with people, with more people comes more, problems sometimes. But if the way I deal with this is I try to I always have I try to have fun. Try to have fun what I do, connect with the people. I can make a small confession. I also started meditating.
That's a good confession.
Yeah, it's a confession, but. Again, I started doing it 2 months. Every morning I get up half an hour earlier and I just, I go in a dark room, I just sit there for 20 minutes. I've been teaching meditation in the US in San Francisco and it really helps. I'm
awesome.
A lot more focused.
Very interesting.
So
I'll
see if I still managed to do it like in the next 6 months, but that helped.
Sean, do you have some tips and tricks?
Yeah, same. We do yoga at work, so everyone can relax an hour a week. We have also this massage lady who comes to do us massage. No, that's just for the physical parts. Then for the real mental part, I would say I was very stressed when the company was in red number. So the thing that make me lower my stress was being profitable. So we run after the money. We run after the money, the customers, the money, get customers fast, be profitable fast, and you will see your level of stress going down very fast too.
I think personally, you have two types of stress. One of the stress, that you generate for yourself, and that's one clear message. What we try to do is just to keep an open, be very accessible and open. Screw politics. Don't have any hidden agenda. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. I mean, this is a sure way not to have any stress. I mean, just get it out there. Of course, sometimes stuff happens out of your control, and this could generate stress. And then I guess I've heard the confession of Pieter Jan. Great. I'm not into that, but I mean, it's anyone has its own thing, right? And build a culture around it. Don't just do it. Some people just go out to have a walk. Other people, pet their dog. I pet my dog.
I wanted to say that Louis and myself, every day we do 2 walks for 20 minutes. And that's when we make the best decisions. We talk about the business, we just go and walk in the city, talk about stuff, and be very, again, that's also reducing stress, is don't screw anybody over, just be super open in your communication. That is also, I want to be an ethical entrepreneur. I like to have fun. I don't like to be awake at night and worry, oh shit, I'm doing this and this. No, be open.
So we have meditation, taking walks, transparencies, any digital tools and technologies that can help entrepreneurs?
Oh, definitely a schedule tool maybe, because that's something that you
Which
often...
one, sorry?
A scheduling tool.
Scheduling.
Yeah, because that's something that you might forget is by doing lots of stuff during the day, from A to Z, then that you forgot that the customer is really the most important person in the company, and especially when you're growing fast, all of a sudden you're working on things that you don't want to work on, and then it might be that you forget your customers, so scheduling the customer.
Interesting. Anyone else? Digital tools that help you in daily operations?
Right now I hired a virtual assistant. That
Does
helps.
that really work?
Yeah, it works. I like it. Like for the basic scheduling stuff, it's just so easy. You don't need else. You're like in your agenda and you're emailing back and forth and calling, and you just copy her and she takes care of it. And I know it will happen. I wrote a manual for her, and now I forward an email and she knows what to do. Really great.
So guys, meditate, do sports, throw away your smartphone and make lots of kids. Great tips. We actually have about 5 minutes left. As I said, you can ask questions using the Watify hashtag on Twitter. You can also just get up now and ask a question from the audience if you have any.
I'm Casper, a student entrepreneur. And I did it myself, actually. But you said to find someone with the same spirits and mindset, but I'm having some troubles finding those people. How do you find them, actually?
The eternal problem of finding the right co-founder. It's a good question.
It's very difficult. It took me 1 year because I'm not an IT guy. I have more a marketing background, but I was thinking, look, we're going to do some 3 things: mobile, kids, entertainment. That was our focus. So I needed an IT guy, and I met his wife first. So I tried to convince her first to get him on board. And then it took me a year to go on dinner with him because he was also in the Golden Cage, nice BMW, things like that. So it's not easy. I think it's all about connecting dots, talking to lots of people. I would say that's the best suggestion on that.
I forgot the name, but there are platforms and online services that actually help you find a co-founder. The names escape me, but if you look it up, you'll probably find 2 or 3 that can really help you find a good match. Or at least make you think about what a good match would be. Question?
Hello, I'm Stefan from Air. I'm actually the next speaker. But my question is the following: what is the term that you fix yourself? Are you aiming at a quarter, a year, 2 year, a 5-year period? What have you got inside?
The period, the length.
it's in the beginning it's pretty short term, and you said like I would say in the beginning it's more about setting shorter milestones, but still having already it's good to have a bigger vision, because it will keep driving you forward even if you don't hit a short-term milestone. But it's good to set like in the beginning it was revenue objectives, and now as the company gets bigger, you're also setting other objectives like on employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction. But I would say when you start a company, it's make it tangible, make it challenging, make sure you hit some of those milestones because it will motivate you. But then I think it's really powerful to have a bigger vision, very big, very challenging objective, longer term, because that will really push you forward and push you to the next level. And I really believe in the self-fulfilling prophecy, where beliefs about yourself impact how you interact with other people. That impacts how those people think of you, and that impacts their behavior towards yourself again, which actually strengthens you in your own belief. And that's really a very powerful circle.
I once, Dennis Crowley from Foursquare once told me that his biggest mistake when building Foursquare was making sure that people had short-term goals, meaning, next week I gotta finish that, next month I gotta do that. And his biggest mistake was not making it very clear what the overall mission was, and constantly hammering it into everyone at the company, like, this is what we want to achieve in the long run. This is where we're going. Short term you can fix. You can always say, I haven't done this in a week. You can still do it. But getting the mission into everyone's mind.
It's right. Otherwise, your company is just a list of to-dos.
Exactly.
This is not the idea. You just have to be.
We're way out of time. We're going to leave the stage to the next speaker. Keep the conversation going. The hashtag's Watify. If you look it up, you'll find the website as well, so you can share your doubts and talk about this with other entrepreneurs, just so you're able to overcome these initial doubts and finally start your own business. Thank you very much, guys.